All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Ignite Initiative. I have a great friend on from TS Fitness in the Upper East Side of New York City, Noam Tamir. Welcome, Noam.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here, man.
Of course. It's really unique for us to have somebody on that owns a gym from Manhattan, or owns a business in Manhattan just in general. So ready to break that down for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been quite a journey. Been around for year 14 in May.
Damn.
So yeah, I feel like a dinosaur.
Yeah, you are in this industry. That's very rare to get to that point. We met, in mastermind groups, and that's kind of how we connected. How most of my, colleagues in this area, right, connect, right, through masterminds. And you've always been great, doing great things. We always learn from you guys and your staff. So we appreciate it. And yeah, man, let's go back. Like, when did fitness become a thing for you? How did it all start, the whole journey?
Yeah, so my journey, my origin story started pretty young. I was an athlete, played soccer, ran track. I started lifting weights in the basement of with one of my friends from childhood. His brother got into it. It was the aesthetics. It was the confidence. I was a smaller kid, so unfortunately I was a target of some bullying and stuff. But lifting weights definitely built up my confidence. It also helped with sports.
Yeah, for sure.
Got faster, got bigger. Did boxing in college. And that definitely, it was just an incredible environment for me to be in. So much that even in school and college, I became a front desk person at the local gym. Kind of became the mayor of the gym.
You learn a lot that way.
A lot. And you could really connect with people. And that's really something that drove me into fitness. Fast forward after college, I got into the hotel industry.
Nice.
Worked in hotels for about a year and a half. Really enjoyed the whole hospitality aspect of things. Became a trainer part-time while I was also studying. I decided to go actually to NYU and pursue hospitality, my master's in hospitality.
Wow.
And I was a part-time trainer. I actually originally went in, I was like, yeah, I get a free gym membership, but really fell in love with it, became an assistant manager, became a personal training manager. I'll never forget that when I told my mother and father that I wanted to become a trainer, after I spent about $50,000 in grad school, they were like, you want to do what?
You crazy?
Yeah. So, but you know what? They supported me. They backed me. They knew how passionate I was about it. And after working at a big box gym for about 5 years, I went independent for a few years. And I remember it really clearly. I was running to all the four corners of Manhattan one day. I was on the Upper East Side.
So you didn't have a space. You were just running around renting space.
I was running around. I rented space, and I would train people at their buildings. So I ran from Upper East Side to the Upper West Side to the West Village to the Lower East Side. By the end of the day, I was just dead, and I was like, this is not the optimal way for me to run my business. So I said to my parents, I'm going to open up a spot. They thought I was kind of crazy in the beginning, but they, again, supported me, were like, follow your passion. And I opened up my gym in 2011. It was kind of right before the boutique fitness era really exploded.
Yeah.
So I was really able to position myself in a good place. Really took a lot of the clients that I already had, brought them into the space. I already had trainers training for me. So I was assigning them clients. So we did one-on-one, and then we did kind of group fitness format, like 10 people.
10 people.
In a 1,000 square foot space.
It's the city, so it can't be that big, that's for sure.
No, yeah. And then just ended up starting to notice that semi-private training was becoming more of a thing. One of my coaches actually went out to California and, results driven, Cosgroves.
Yes.
She did I don't know if it was a course with them, but she came back and was like, we should try this. And I was like, yeah, let's do it, And I just started transitioning my private clients into semi-private. And, that's something that really it's difficult to do.
Yeah.
It's a challenge to go from private training into semi-private, especially when you have a really high-end clientele that are willing to pay $200 an hour and tell them, hey, why don't you pay $90, share your time with somebody. But that's really goes to that speaks of how good of a salesperson you are.
Yeah, you have to be. But that also, it's like for them, it's not just for you, it's more money per hour, of course. But for them, it's more motivation and more accountability when you're in a group, correct? Like that's how I believe. I think it's better than one-on-one, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's better. I think it's more enjoyable. I think people push themselves harder.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's research on it. When people train in teams,
it's way better.
The endorphins are higher and the results are better.
Because I know if you're going and we're in the same group together, and I go and you always, you'll hit me up and say, where were you today, and stuff like that. So it's the accountability factor too. Let's take it back when you said hospitality, because I think that probably played a huge role in your business, because you guys do a great job with the cards, the letters, the touch points, all that stuff. So how is hospitality like being brought into the gym business? How much has that helped you?
One of the things that I fell in love with in the hotel business was the service.
Yeah.
Providing the service. That is the critical action, is how you present the service. Yes, people are training for a great results, losing weight, but why do they stay? And we've spoken about this ad nauseum in Mastermind. Is they stay because of the community you create, because of the service you provide. And I've seen businesses where the owners are super smart, but pardon my language, they're dickheads, and they don't train their they don't train their staff to be service oriented, and they fail.
Stupid, honestly. You can't do that. You have to give the service, because they're paying top dollar for this stuff. It's not not a cheap price. I mean, your average memberships are what in New York City? $650 a month. I mean, listen, it's New York City. But you got to provide that service. Was there one lesson you learned, like in hospitality, that you brought over, or just a bunch of stuff kind of just carried over?
I think a big part of it is first impressions.
Yeah.
There's actually a book that I read. It was like the first hospitality book I read. It's called First Impressions.
Okay.
And it's how you present yourself, how you speak to them. The first impression. People say don't judge a book by its cover, but
People are judging by the cover, that's for sure.
Especially in a place like New York City.
Yeah.
So they walk in, they see, a nice, clean environment, people coming up to them, welcoming them, shaking their hand. That's the first impression. That's what, really sets the tone for the whole experience. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I've taken from the hospitality industry.
Oh, that's a great point. And a lot of young coaches especially don't think about that. They're so tied to the X's and O's of training, but at the same time, you're running a business too, right? You got to have the product down. Don't get me wrong. The product's got to be good, but that's got to happen. So you signed your first lease, what year?
2011.
2011. How was that? Like, was it nerve-wracking? Like, how did that happen? Finding a spot in the city, number one. How was the whole search?
So, again, I've made all the mistakes possible.
Okay.
I signed it's funny, the Super Bowl just happened so what happened was I actually won halftime in a $600 box.
Okay.
So I split it with some people, so I actually won $4,000 cash.
Okay.
And I was like, this is perfect timing. I was like, so I was able to give it to my contractor.
Okay.
Never give cash to a contractor. You always make sure that they do the business. You give them minimal cash if they need materials.
Give it full on the end.
This guy did a great job, and it ended up being that I didn't really lose that much money, but he ended up stopping halfway through. So I had to find a new contractor.
Crazy.
He was really reputable from a friend of mine who used him, but definitely had like a drinking problem, but was super skilled. So I'd given him that $4,000, and I was hoping that would be, that would be the last of it, really, because there wasn't that much work that needed to be done.
Gotcha.
So I ended up having to find a new contractor. This guy was good, but he was more expensive. I was so set on opening at a certain date. Never happens that way. Never be set on opening a certain date. Just understand that there is going to be road bumps. Carve in those anywhere from 3 to 6 months delay, because that's just going to happen.
And extra money.
Unless you're lucky, and extra money, and extra stress and everything. So that happened. I ended up opening up a few months after I wish I planned to. But I also made all the mistakes of hiring the wrong people. Got through that. Ended up hiring the right people. Didn't put like that education in place for my coaches.
Yeah. You don't know better at that point.
Yeah.
Everybody does the same thing, I feel like. It's unless you're in masterminds from the start, right? That's the only way
So after about 2 years, I did get into a mastermind group.
Okay.
And one of the biggest takeaways from that mastermind group was establishing contracts and doing, EFTs.
That's pretty.
That was huge.
That's pretty young, 2013, to be doing that, because I mean, not that people didn't do it, but like, charge per class, stuff like that. We opened up in 2015. I didn't know nothing. We should have people pay per class.
Packages,
I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, when you're big box gyms and you're doing private training, you're doing packages. Yeah. You're not doing memberships and reoccurring revenue, which is huge.
Predictability.
Exactly.
You got to know how much is coming in, forecast it, how much can you spend, payroll allocation, all that stuff, right? That's stuff that nobody teaches you beforehand. What about like your first lease? Did they charge rent right away? Is it they give you a commencement? How did that work?
So that's another thing is I kind of lost a bit of my free rent.
Okay, because it tied into it.
But yeah, that was tied into it. But they did. It was $3,000 for 1,000 square feet, which is nothing. I mean, it's more than double now.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't it say that you can go back in time? Holy shit.
So it was a good deal. However, it was interesting because New York City had this physical culture permit law, meaning that you had to get a specific type of zoning and you had to go through the buildings department to do this.
That's how Nassau County is too. I don't know, but probably not as strict though.
So it was really an old law to prevent people from opening brothels.
Gotcha.
So it was antiquated. It got thrown out about, 4 or 5 years ago. But I didn't have that. And the building department actually, after my 3.5 years, came in and started giving my landlord fines. And he was like, you got to get this permit. And I was like, yeah. I realized I couldn't get it. So I was just kind of buying time and looking for a new space. And luckily, another space opened up. It was a gym that failed. And it was 3 blocks away.
Perfect.
And I just transitioned out, gave up my, my deposit and everything like that. But I closed for literally 1 day.
Amazing. So you just built it up.
Built it up, all set. I was very fortunate that my brother is a developer.
Okay.
So he wasn't a developer at the time, but he was a contractor. He was a, building, what do you call them? Foreman or things like that. So he was engineering
so he knew
degree.
what he was doing with that stuff.
So he was able to go in there, find me the guys, quick transition, got the flooring down, drywalling and everything.
Wow. And that's where you're at now?
That's where I'm at now.
2016 you got in there?
2015.
15. Okay, cool. Wow,
Yeah.
amazing. So what has been like, any certain moment in your business where you were had doubts and things like that, where it's like, shit, man, I'm working so hard. There's a lot of stress in this business, as you know. Any moments you're like, damn, this might not be for me or anything like that, or no?
I never had that moment. The only time I came close was COVID.
So
COVID
understandable.
Was
in New York City.
I mean, I was fortunate where my landlord was super, super generous.
Okay.
He reduced our rent considerably. All the people in the building. He was smart.
I was going to say it's smart because if not, you're going to be gone after COVID anyways, right? I mean, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I was going to be out. So he kept all the people in the building from leaving. He also reduced rent for a year after COVID.
Wow.
Then eventually it went up to where it is now. But he was, he was also not a mom and pop. He's a super, super wealthy guy. So I understand with a lot of mom and pop, they really were getting hit hard.
Yeah.
So they almost had to keep people at the same price.
For sure.
But we got, I think I mentioned this at the sales summit. I mean, I was selling everything. I had a car. I was selling weights to people, doubling the prices that I bought it for. We were doing workouts on the streets of New York City next to pigeon shit.
Were you able to do any privates in the building at all, or no?
So I was one of the last to close.
Okay.
I would lock the building and then unlock it for people, open them up, look around, get them in, and do some privates. But it got to the point where it just wasn't safe for me to do it because so many people were getting sick.
Of course.
And actually, I met my now wife at the time, and I dodged a huge bullet because when we first met, she actually got COVID right after our second date, which was outside. And I was about to go hang out with her, and come to her place, and we were going to have some sushi and stuff. She messages me the day before saying she's not feeling good. The next day, I got COVID. She was an intense, like, just fatigue and ill.
Damn.
I mean, she was just not good for a few months.
Damn.
So,
any clients that got sick?
Yeah, we had a bunch of clients. We had a lot of clients move away. You know, New York City lost so many people.
They did. That's right.
So our demographic after COVID definitely dropped to a younger demographic.
I think
for sure.
fitness has that now. The younger, we always used to say like 40 plus, and I feel like now, like, there is a lot more late 20s, early 30s people that are willing to spend money on fitness. You know, and they see how important it is.
Yeah, our average age is about 38.
Okay.
And about 70% female.
Yeah, I think females always dominate this industry, but it's trending the other way a little bit. I feel like now, some guys are more comfortable going to group classes and doing it because they see the benefits of it. After COVID, did you have like a surge after COVID of clients? Because I feel like we did. I feel like people were so excited to get back out there, so we kind of had a pretty high surge that gave us a little bit like false numbers for 2021. Honestly.
Yeah, we really exploded in 2021. But what happened was, the way that we had divided the space, right when you walked in, there was like a glass corridor, and it kind of it went into like a group fitness room where we had 8 people per session, but it was hit.
Damn.
So it was a lower price point, a lot of class passers. I love Class Pass, I'm not gonna lie. My wife's friend is the one who introduced us, so I could never say anything bad about Class Pass. That's why I'm married. But obviously, they're not the people that are going to really pay for your premium services, these small group training. So what happened was, nobody wanted to go into a small room with 8 people sweating and breathing and everything like that. So I just took that room down. I took all the glass down, opened it up, and now we run 2 6-person semi-private or small group training sessions. Our revenue has doubled.
It allows your capacity. I mean, you're literally doubling your capacity per hour. Yeah. And you know how it is in the gym business. Like, you know, at least maybe New York City's different, but like 5 a.m. to 10, 11 is you're busy, right? But do you have classes during the day in New York City?
We have noons. We have noon and we have 11, and then we have 4:30s.
Did that change more after COVID? Did it get more popular midday?
There's more noon, yeah, definitely. We have a noon every day.
Okay.
Yeah, so and they're pretty busy. Yeah.
Is that people that work from home, or is it just people on their lunch breaks?
There's a lot of people from home.
Gotcha.
That's another thing that saved us, is that we were in a neighborhood area, you know, not in a transient, business neighborhood, because a lot of people work remote now. I mean, slowly but surely they're coming back, but I know a lot of businesses that never recovered because people are still working from home.
For sure. Yeah. And landlords especially too, offices, things like that. Now, another challenge you have in the city, and we talked about this a little bit, was like people move away.
Attrition.
Like, yes. And then not only that, like there's 1,000 gyms in your block probably, right? Like how do you deal with that? What can you counter for the attrition piece? The $1 million question.
The biggest thing that's helped us recently is definitely referrals.
Yeah.
We've really created a referral-driven culture.
Yes.
Where we get people in, again, yes, it's sales, but we talk about how selling is helping.
Exactly.
When we get friends or couples in together, they love it.
And the chance of them staying is higher because they're in together.
Exactly. Yeah. So they really, really connect with the community there, especially when they refer somebody. A big thing for us is our SEO. Our SEO is incredible. I've been featured in over 100 articles.
What articles exactly have you been in?
One's in Live Strong, Men's Health,
wow.
Women's Health, Shape,
and that always,
Men's Fitness.
That just helps the backlinks to your website because everybody's searching for stuff in New York City especially too, right? And that's huge in your area. There's no doubt about that.
And reviews also are huge. I mean, it's shocking to me how New York City gyms, boutique ones, don't get more reviews, because for local search it's huge. So I think the strategies, New York City is one of the most competitive, but I think it's also, unfortunately, because people are in New York City and they think that, okay, I'm here, people are going to see me, and also there's a lot of investor money. There's not a lot of like bootstrap, owners, 100% ownership of the person that actually started it. They're not as, I guess, focused on marketing.
Gotcha. And the behind the scenes business too, right? Because they're not in it every day. Is that why you think?
And that's why a lot of them closed.
And I feel like the big name gyms, especially, like they don't have good like social media and Google reviews. Honestly, they don't have good Google reviews sometimes? I feel like some of them around my gyms at least. I don't know about the city. Maybe it's different.
Yeah, I mean they don't. I've seen the other places around.
There's just no focus on it.
We have almost 300 5-star reviews.
That's more than I've ever seen.
And then about over 100 in Yelp, which is interesting. I'll tell you something. So, you have an iPhone?
Yes.
Yeah. What browser do you use most times?
Safari.
Do you know when you try to Google a gym in Safari or something? Do you know what comes up? Not Google. Yelp.
Yelp? Oh, you're saying on the,
yeah. So a lot of people don't use Yelp.
Yeah.
But a lot of
especially
people
in the city too.
Safari is a lot of times, people, yes, they use Google when they're on the computer.
Yeah.
But when on their phone,
you're just searching on Safari.
They're searching on Safari and Yelp is what comes up. And a lot of people, they don't prioritize Yelp for reviews. So I think that's something that a lot of people miss as gym owners.
Now, when you're asking for a review, what would you rather have, Yelp or Google?
I ask them both.
It's true.
I tell just cut and paste.
That's it.
A big thing that that really spurs or ignites our reviews is bingo. So we have it in there as one of the boxes to leave us a review. It's one of the easiest things for them to do. So most recently, last month in January, probably got like an extra 20, 30 reviews.
Just from that? Did you hear about what's going on right now, the filtering?
No, they're filtering.
Google's like filtering reviews. They're just like changing the back end. Supposedly it shows lower reviews right now for your business. Mine does. I checked next 4. But the reviews are still there. I think it's going to go back. They're saying at the end of the month or something. I got to look into it more.
Okay.
So it's not good for us, but they're changing something in the background. I don't know exactly what it was, but they're going to come back. If you count your reviews, it's a lot to count for 300. Yeah. They're actually there. It's not showing it for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah. So
check that out.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah. But so for TS, like, how are you able to build such a great member base, such a good community? What do you think the main attributes were to that? Like, what was the main factors?
Mindset of the owner is huge, and trickle down to the team is really important.
And being a leader.
Yeah, leading. I do still fall into that managing, because I do like to, Joe always loves to say, Joe Riggio, he always loves to say, I'm a tinkerer. He's a tinker also. He likes to tinker. But
he'll go in spurts with the tinker.
Yes.
You'll know.
So I think that we've just really built a great reputation with the way that we do things and the way that we deliver and the accountability that we create. I mean, we got the N Body probably about, I'd say 2.5, 3 years ago. It's a great accountability tool. We really try to get people on there every 3 months or so, and that really tells a story. And when somebody loses body fat, gains 3-4 pounds of muscle mass, especially with the female demographic that we have, it's really empowering. It really makes them feel like all their effort is showing.
And that's great because they see it and they're seeing it there. You guys are keeping them accountable for their goals of what they actually came there for. Mm-hmm. And some gyms can lose sight of that sometimes.
Yeah, no, I mean, not to throw Equinox under the bus, but we've had so many Equinox people. They do the EquiFit with them. They do the M-Body. If they don't choose to even if they do decide that they're going to work one-on-one with a trainer, it's never done again.
Really?
Yeah.
They're like, what if they request it? No?
They don't know to request it.
That's true. That's true.
So I think that's a shame.
That's kind of bullshit, honestly.
Yeah.
That makes sense, though.
Because we've had clients that say, I trained with a trainer for a year at Equinox. They're happy with it. I said, did you do the EquiFit? Yeah. Did you ever do the M-Body again? No.
It's a big selling point for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the challenge.
Smart.
Yeah. We do a lot of, another thing that we do is we do before and afters. We have a whole transformation wall.
Yes.
Okay. Which people enjoy seeing it. Most of the people don't really want to be put up there.
Yeah, of course.
But if after a certain period of time, we ask them if they'll do a picture, if they do a picture and they see the transformation, you know, I'll bribe them a little bit with a couple of sessions.
There you go.
And then they'll be like, sure, you can use the picture. So
and then it's up there forever.
Then it's up there.
It's not coming back down.
Yeah.
So that's awesome what you built, Noam. Like, what's next for TS? Like, what do you know?
Well, you know, we are looking for a second location.
I didn't know if it was public, so I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, we are looking for a second location. I'm at the point
That's
now.
a job in itself in New York City, searching for a location.
I mean, we're just doing preliminary stuff, and it's already you know, a big job just looking and fine tuning the spaces and making
What's the
sure.
average gross per square foot that you're seeing right now? Just so everybody
80?
understands.
$80.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, there's 50, but you know, and this is not for ground floor. $80.
It's not even for ground floor.
You're going up to 100 if you're looking for ground floor. But we're really looking for a small footprint.
2,000 or less, 1,500?
Even less. 1,500 would be ideal for me.
Okay.
So it is out there, and I will find it.
That's a good lesson for people, like open up a gym. Like, for example, if you see Raph, like, you know, when you first open up a business, you're thinking like a big spot and all that, but for what reason? Like, you're just going to like get almost like overuse of having a big space, and you can get comfortable with it, but you can get a lot done in a small space if you do it properly. And once you figure out how much it costs, the difference, it's a big difference.
And then the thing that I mentioned also at the Sales Summit was, you know, you just select one service and just get really, really good at delivering that one service.
Seriously.
Because that's another reason that we've been able to be resilient and survive while a lot of gyms haven't been able to, is that we've really, really just honed in on our small group personal training. And that's a very unique service in the city. There's not a lot of places that do it.
It's more group fitness, right?
It's more like group fitness classes
or
one-on-one.
Or one-on-one.
Yeah.
So you're the in-between spot.
And there's not a lot of them. So.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's so popular.
I can count on my hand how many places I know that do it.
That's nothing for the city.
And then how many of them that do it well.
And I know you were out there researching other gyms.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Doing the calls and everything.
Oh yeah, I love secret shopping people.
Of course.
Learn what to do and what not to do.
So Noam, if you can go back and talk to yourself before opening up a gym or getting into the industry, what would you tell yourself? For somebody that young that's trying to get out there and start right now.
I would say start small.
Okay.
Learn how to manage people first and lead people first before you open up a gym. So if you can become a fitness manager or assistant personal training manager, do that. Even though you might not make great money, or if you're working for a big box gym, you have to learn how to speak to people, how to motivate people, how to create that team atmosphere, because you cannot do it alone. You know?
And it's free training for you too. If you're going there, yes, you're not getting paid as much, but you're getting value in the training side of it, right? They're training you on how to do stuff. So learn from them, and I love that idea. That's a really good idea.
So I'm a Giants fan, but you know, I gotta admire the Eagles. I gotta admire Saquon. You know,
of course.
But Nick Sirianni, Sirianni.
I think you had it right.
He had a good quote that Barkley also liked, which was like, you know, you can't be great without the greatness of others. So
the truth.
You know, if you want to be great, you gotta make sure that other people, that you're setting up other people to be great.
One thing we always say in our RAF meetings is nobody in the room is as important as anybody else in the room, including myself, including John. Like, we don't. That's just how we treat it. Like, I know that if one of my coaches is doing a bad job, then it's a weak link to our group. So like, everybody's important. You have an important job. You got to show up and put the work in every day.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's very demanding of everybody, but you got to be on the same page.
Yeah. I take responsibility. So if someone doesn't do what they're doing, it has to take a lot for me to say like they are the ones who messed up.
Yeah.
I'm always looking at myself and I'm like, how could I have communicated this better? Did I communicate it right? You know, a lot of times, you know, the biggest challenge with communication is the illusion that it happened.
Yep.
You know, so like I could tell you something, but you're going to perceive it very different. I have to make sure, hey, this is what I mean. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
And if it's wrong, how can you do a better job next
Exactly.
time? That's the sign of a mature leader, though. I think it's hard for that in the beginning to be that way.
Yeah.
You know, I learned that along the way for sure.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people that are like, yeah, I want to open up a gym. I want to do this. I'm like, have you managed people?
Yeah.
Like, they have huge followings on social media. They are great trainers. They put out great content. They have all these brands, and they want to open up a gym, or they want to, lead people. And I'm like, have you ever done it before? I'm like, why don't you start overloading yourself with clients, pass them off to somebody that you find on Indeed,
Sure.
or you find through your network of trainers, and see what it's like to manage somebody. You might not like it, you know. So
it's very hard. It's very hard.
Yeah.
It's very tough.
And then selling, you know, some of them don't really realize how important the sales process is, because they are selling to their clients. They're, you know, convincing them that what they do is going to, you know, get them great results. But then also like selling other coaches, you know.
You're always selling.
Yeah.
And even the members you have in the room, you're still selling them, because they walk out of the door and see F45 right away, right?
Yeah.
You're always on that path. But I appreciate you coming on, Noam. Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
having
much.
me, man. I really appreciate it, man.
Of course.
Have fun.